we are working in the creative industries, especially for this project, which is the digital entertainment and games project. So I think this is very important for the Nordic people and also for the Hong Kong people to have this exchange, to see each other and really meet.
Hong Kong, we might be really good at commercial related things, but in Nordic, they have the know-how in the gaming industry, they have the talent pipelines. So if we really want to offer some good commercial offerings to our clients, it would be great to work with talents here and also bring the experienced talents and also the know-how from the Nordic countries to Hong Kong.
I think the Nordic tour is great because we learned a lot about how their government helps their teams to help to build their teams and first of all educate their young, build their teams and just make them strive for success.
Yeah, I really loved the energy. That was sort of like really great. But we're of course constantly looking sort of like for talents. So really the game developers and also outsourcing partners, especially when it comes to the content side of things.
It was a true pleasure to meet the delegates, and we had a lot of good ideas of how we can together develop virtual mixed reality solutions for the market.
I hope that this is sort of the starting point for us and the community in southern Sweden to build a long-term relationship with the creative industries in Hong Kong.
I've developed a number of contacts at the Nordic Game Conference, and I'm going to follow up on when I get back to Hong Kong. We're working on some potential business partnerships.
Yeah, we definitely will reconnect those people we met in here and try to establish. Probably we can hire someone remotely to working with us for game design with Hong Kong team.
Wow, we can hear some laughter from our delegates, so it must be a memorable and fun trip for them. And we believe that there must be a lot of opportunities between the North and the South. And now, without further ado, may I now invite Mr. Terence Lang, Senior Manager of Digital Entertainment of Cyberport, to say a few words to us. Mr. Terence, please.
Thank you, Crystal. Hi, everyone. I'm Terence. I'm not going to say too much here. I'm here just to do one thing, give thanks to some important persons here. First of all, I would like to give thanks to Miss Binh, our super glue. Because of Binh, she put everything together. She connects us with the Nordic partners, and also she connects all the delegates here. She brought the delegates to Nordic countries. She prepared everything, the programs, the partners there, and took care of the delegates on behalf of Cyberport. You know how jealous I was when I saw the pictures, the video, the sharing of you guys, because I did not have the chance to go with them. It was Binh who do everything for us. And I also would like to thank Create Hong Kong because they are our funding source. The government agency, they provided funding for most portion of this delegation. And also we would like to thank FinCham who took care of the finance part of this delegation. And also I would like to thank the Nordic partners, many big names, because we had the chance to visit the big name game studio like Supercell. Later on, we will have a representative from Supercell to speak to us. And a lot more Nordic partners there. I I'm not able to mention all the names here, but I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to everyone who had made a lot of effort to make this delegation happen smoothly. And I also like to thank all the delegates here. Because of you, you make this program very successful. Because I heard some good stories from these delegates. This delegation, we try to connect them with a lot of good partners in the Nordic markets. And I heard some good stories, some business connection after that trip there. And today, I would like to hear some of the success stories from them directly. So without further ado, I would like to pass the stage to Binh and to lead the following parts for us. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we are here back to Hong Kong, back to Cyberport. I think we are a little behind in the schedule, so I will not take much time. Just saying, bear in mind, if there's a second round of this kind of tour, it is hard. You can ask the delegates later. It's 6 days, 3 countries, jumping around with 7 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, because I thought, I was like considerate, I was afraid I didn't do enough for them. And by the end of the tour, they say, like, Binh, why do you need to pack so much? I'm like, you have to see everything. Promise, we'll not do that. So, welcome the delegates on the stage. But before that, I invited Supercell to share a little bit, and we are a little behind of the schedule. Is Supercell logged in? It's Pietari logged in? Great. And I'll sit down. And the agenda today is Supercell is going to share a little bit, and then I invited another startup from Finland. She will share a little bit about how it is to be a startup in Finland, and then the delegates will come up here, and you can ask questions, and we just have a Nordic relax panel discussion. So, with no further ado, welcome Pietari Paivanen, lead and special projects from Supercell.
Hello, hey everyone, good to be here. Hope you can all hear me fine. So yeah, my name is Pietari Paivanen and I'm the lead of the special projects at Supercell, and it was super fun to host the delegation at our premises a few months back. So just briefly, I'll give you sort of like a couple of information slides on Supercell, and then talk a bit sort of like what we are looking for from possible partnerships and cooperations in the Hong Kong side. So Supercell was originally sort of founded on one simple vision and dream, and that was to create games for as many people as possible that will be played for years and remembered forever. And in order to be able to do that, we want to be the best place for the best teams to create the best games on planet. We are currently roughly 400 people representing over 40 different nationalities. Our turnover is over $2 billion, so the focus has really been in keeping the team small and just hire the best people from around the globe. Currently, we have a global presence and offices in Helsinki, Shanghai, which is our second biggest office, San Francisco, and Seoul, Korea. And from Seoul, we are also operating the Japanese markets. And as some of you might know, we are majority owned by Tencent. So very close connections towards China and also towards Hong Kong. So far, we have over 5 billion installs, and we have hundreds of millions of active monthly players. All of our 5 games we have globally launched so far have made over $1 billion. The latest one being the Brawl Stars, which has been quite a big hit also in some of the Asian markets. We do currently have also a game studio based in Shanghai, studio also in North America. So not all the game development is done any. Clash IP is something sort of like pretty unique. A month ago or so. And the Clash IP itself together has made over $10 billion in lifetime revenues. So that's something that could be compared to the whole like franchise of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. And it's actually more than what the Star Wars, the whole franchise, has made during its existence. So it's clearly sort of like a showing that the success can come basically from anywhere, even from a sort of like super tiny little country as Finland. So that's something we're super proud of. All of our games have like one common thing, and that is that they are better played with friends. So it's a very social experience we're always trying to build. So we have like our hundreds of millions of players have created like tens of millions active clans in across all of our games. But it's not only the mobile games itself that we're reaching or through which we're reaching out to the bigger audiences. It's really larger than just games. We are sort of like currently very much focusing also on the esports. So whereas it might have been still a few years back more of a marketing effort for us, now we really believe that it can be a clear part of the whole gameplay and everything that we're doing. So really much focusing more and more on the esports side of things. So yeah, we were very happy to become the first European decacorn startup. So very lucky with that one. And how it came up to be like that was basically, as said, believing that the best teams make the best games. So it's not only about sort of like the best individuals that we need to hire, but make sure that those best individuals form the best teams, which is not always the case. It's the best team that plays best together. We're sort of like looking at our like of like the team and sort of like how it is built. It must be sort of like the best team. It's not enough that you have the best individuals in the company, but they need to form something bigger together. Originally, when Supercell was founded 12 years ago, it very much used to be the case in the whole industry that in gaming companies, which we still believe to be very much a creative industry, it was always thought that there is some visionary leader on the top of the company, a CEO with this magical touch and a vision and knowledge, sort of like where the industry would be going and what the players want. And then below this visionary king, there is the team leads that are making sure that the developers are executing the CEO's vision. And our founders like truly believe that that's not the right way to work in a creative industry like games. So we very much from the beginning turned the whole model upside down. Did sort of like a really complete flip around. So we want to give all the power to the game creators. So on the top, there is the very independent teams that we call cells, thus Supercell, that own the vision of their game and who have the sort of like the whole freedom and independency, but also the responsibility. It's their decision whether a game in development should initially go to a beta phase, and after that, whether it should go global or to be killed. It's not the CEO or some bishop director who's sort of like making these big calls on a game. And this is very much the model how we like to operate with our investee companies as well. So talking about the investments, we have currently made a dozen, if not more. Currently, the figure is in the doubles, and then closing like soon 30 investments, mainly in game studios. But we do have done a couple of also like technology investments, and looking also for some like strategic investments, maybe to outsourcing companies, so that our investee companies could also sort of like leverage our network of outsourcing companies and great partners. But the main focus has always been in really finding the best game studios, and we're doing anything from like really pre-seed phase to Series A rounds. And in these teams, as I said, we're really looking at the people and the team, how it's performing, kind of like freedom and independency to our investee companies as we give to our teams. So really looking forward to get to know more of Hong Kong-based studios and other possible partners. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Pietari. Thanks for sharing. And now we know what the cell in the super stands for, hey? So they flip the model, putting it very Nordically on the people and not on the director's responsibility. And Pietari, please stay tuned. I'm going to invite you to the company, but the line is open for everyone who wants to ask questions. Please send your question in, and we will take a Q&A after the second presenter. And just a fun thing, we are still chasing unicorns, Pietari, in Hong Kong. So I'm going to ask you later what a decacorn is, by the way. So with no further ado, let us welcome Eliza Jappinen, CEO of Visible Realms, some from the big juggernaut till a normal startups in Finland. Eliza, welcome.
Hello, how are you guys? So I am Eliza Jappinen. I'm here to present Visible Realms, which is a mobile game startup in Helsinki. And as I was saying, we go to slide 2. Basically, I have 15 years of experience in IP development, and this is one of those things where I have worked in the cross-section of music, games, and the entertainment industry. I think it's pretty unique aspect of being kind of a Nordic player in the creative industry to be able to have this. What I am really known for, if we can go to the next slide, is being the creator of Studio Killers, which is an animated band with over 10 billion views on TikTok. And through my experience in working with Studio Killers, I, had the chance to look at the 3 industries: music, entertainment, TV and film, and games. And having worked in each one of those industries, I can say that the mobile games industry is the best one to sort of launch new IPs. Which is why, if we go to the next slide, Visible Realms is focusing on building franchise IPs through mobile gaming. Now, Studio Killers was something I created in the past, and therefore I actually licensed the IP because it was struggling to our company to build a mobile game. Next slide, please. And what we've noticed is, of course, we became actually very huge on TikTok just actually 2 years ago. From this content we had made before, it became viral. And this is because we've had a very strong social media presence in general. TikTok audience is a really exciting audience. It's a 15 to 25-year-old demographic, which we know it's kind of a hard to reach audience on the other platforms. And this is why our focus is a lot on that in our skill set. Next slide, please. So what we're really doing is we're going to be building massive franchise IPs through mobile gaming and then narrative and social media connections. Next. Essentially, we build the mobile game, so the minimum viable product first, but we couple it with our skill set in building that social media presence and our skill set in having the connections to develop TV series. This will, if you give me the next slide, essentially expand on our long tail of what we can bring in users from and drive down user acquisition costs. We're already doing this with the Studio Killers. So what's great is Studio Killers mobile game is now in early access in the US, and we're seeing some really great KPIs, for instance, 300 and it was also second place winner of the Big Indie Pitch at Pocket Gamers, and is now in development as a TV series with Titmouse in the US. Next slide. Yes, so our whole ethos is we really look at that focus of what is going to be something that can translate into big narrative, have a big universe to it, look for the sticky core game mechanic, create that minimum viable product, but also look at where the market is at on social media. This way we can build, next slide, very strong social media narratives, and that way, really push up the brand. But at the same time, we are championing underrepresented voices, and hopefully bringing more equality and equity to the entertainment industry, which because of its large budgets that you need to have to go into TV series really excludes a lot of diversity. Next slide, please. So our team is majority female, and that's really wonderful. Game designer is female. I'm the CEO, and so we have a very strong, feminine point of view, I guess. And yeah, so next slide. Ultimately, we know that Studio Killers has a real big presence in Asia. We actually just don't know exactly how big it is or how to, develop on that. So for us, we're really looking at the Hong Kong market, how could we develop relations? Next slide, please. One more, sorry, one more slide. How could we develop, relationships there? Essentially, we're looking for publishing partners, maybe funding, but definitely insights in how to develop and how to go further with these IPs for the Hong Kong market. And that's it. Thank you. If you go to the last slide, there's actually my contact details if you do want to reach out to me and discuss further opportunities and how we could communicate or how we could further develop collaborations.
Thank you, Eliza. Thank you very much. And thank you for Pietari also. Are you playing games, Pietari? What games are we playing? What games are we playing? Because actually it's relevant. I got a question here. Who's actually asking, but before I go to the Q&A, because I have another mission to do, of course, later on, so I'm going to welcome the delegations to the podium first, and then I will take the Q&A, and we have to do the photo ops, We love photo ops here, so let us start to welcome the delegation who actually went with me to the Nordics. We have Elizabeth Chow, the CFO from the 3 Mindwave. Welcome. And then we have Wilfred Yao, CEO from the Frenzoo. And Jeremy Lam, CEO of Pixio. And Queenie So, founder and CEO of SyZyGy. Did I say it right this time? Oh, no, still not right. Okay, I work on that one. And then, of course, again, with the international team, we have people calling in from Finland. We have also one delegate who called from Taiwan, Rainy Low, the CCO for Co-op. I don't know if we can see you. Oh, there you are. Hey, Rainy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
And the last company, Area 28. They couldn't come. One is in China, and the other one is still in England or US. I'm not pretty sure here. But before we let Supercell, and thanks Eliza, there was a question actually for... Okay, that's it. Sorry. So I think it's for Supercell, Pietari, or you guys can also chip in if you want. What are the elements, uniqueness of Nordic games rocking the world? Pietari, what do you think?
Yeah.
Why are your games so big in the world?
I think it's the same with all the Nordic countries, not only Finland. We are just such a small markets as our own that we need to build global games like from the scratch. We cannot build anything for our own home market only.
What do you think, Eliza?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I actually grew up also in Hawaii as a child, and I've had like a pretty interesting and eclectic background of like cultural mixes. And I could say that, you know, having that sort of insider-outsider perspective on the Finnish mentality and the Finnish creative scene, I also think it's sort of, there's an attention to detail. There's a strong sense of creativity, but also this sort of peer review and really wanting to get things right. And I think that has a strong, it just, you know, if you work hard and you're trying to create the best product, I guess it pays off, you know, to some degree.
So when it comes to why Hong Kong and why Cyberport, if you, for Supercell, you're already in Shanghai. So how do you plan the next market, or do you need, you in gaming, do you really need to be physically somewhere, do you think, in the future?
We believe that we do. Originally, Shanghai, Seoul, Tokyo, San Francisco were all marketing offices because the marketing is the thing that needs like really locally. But we have lately seen that it's actually pays off to have studios also elsewhere. It gives you a different kind of like approach in building games for different audiences. It's an advantage, definitely, and also for finding the best talent. That's the thing. I don't know why, but not everyone like wants to relocate to Finland.
Maybe we know why. We can ask the delegation later. So I'm not gonna keep up more of your time. Can you? It's a photo op time. So if the photographers are done with the photo shots, I don't know how we're gonna get. Rainy is not there from Taiwan. We have Eliza, we have Pietari, both from Finland. But where is Rainy? So. Again, really thank you, Finland, thank you, Supercell, for taking care of us. Thank you, FinCham, for creating all the opportunities, and also thank you, Business Sweden, Business Finland, and Business Iceland, Innovation Norway, Innovation Denmark. That's my stakeholders who help out with all this, and Copenhagen capacity also, of course, to take care of us.
Okay, and now Rainy is here. Shall we let's take a group photo together?
Okay, group photo together. Hello.
All right. Okay, just keep on looking at the screen.
Yes.
And then our colleagues will have a cap screen on all of you, okay?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, smile.
Hi.
And also smiling at your friend's iPhone. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile.
Thank you.
All right, and we've got a good group photo right now. So I believe that all the delegates will have a sharing section as well. May my colleagues also pass the microphone to you guys. And looking forward for the sharing section.
So I will thank you, Finland. Thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Pietari, for joining us. I hope that you will take care of the next cohort. So I'll see you again in Finland. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So that's it. So this is what I have to deal with while we are traveling, because it's a hybrid format. So basically, we are supposed to be 12 companies from Cyberport going to the Nordics. With all this, with the COVID pandemic going on, it was on, it was off. But finally, when it was on, we have 6 who came all the way, go there and back. So this is what the sharing is about. And I have a presentation in the background about Nordic Innovation House. I already shared that before, so I will not go into detail. So again, for you guys who haven't heard it, my name is Binh Johansson. I am the director for the Nordic Innovation House. There's 5 houses in the world. We started in Silicon Valley, then New York, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the latest one was Tokyo. If it wasn't for the pandemic, there would be more houses in the world, because our job is to bring the best Nordic technology to our local markets. My market is to bring the Nordic tech to GBA, the Greater Bay Area, by landing them in Hong Kong, by landing them in Cyberport. That is part of my job. So during pandemic time, I get creative. I'm like, why don't we just scale Hong Kong back to us? So this is what this project is about. And Create Hong Kong agreed, so they fund everything. So we have to find those talented companies who want to join us to have a look at the Nordic countries. So I will just do what we normally do, the Nordic way. You have a 1-minute pitch to tell us about yourself.
Hi. Hi, I'm Elizabeth from 3 Man Wave. I'm the CEO of the company. So 3 Man Wave is a game developer specialized in arcade games. So we make games from hardware, software, game concept, all the way to the manufacturing of the arcade games as an end product. So we work closely with Sega Amusement International, who distributes our games around the world. And this November, we are going to participate in the IAPA, which is one of the biggest amusement shows in the world. So we're looking forward to see you guys over there at the show.
Hey, hi, my name is Wilfred. I'm CEO of Frenzoo Limited. So Frenzoo is a Hong Kong company that making mobile game in fashion, in 3D fashion. So we have 10 years of experience in mobile fashion game. And our main target is the Western market, especially in American and the Latin American. So and we have the global team of the fashion design and the fashion production. So this is a good trip that we can have a chance to go to the Nordic and seeking more opportunity of different market. So yeah, this is really a great trip of you guys together.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeremy Lam, CEO of Pixio. We're a mobile game company that do casual mobile titles for the global audience. And we really learned a lot from this trip because of the visits to those large companies like Supercell and Rovio. Plus we saw a lot of, not only did we visit them, but they shared a lot of the way they do things and what they think about the future, how they grew from a very small company to a very large one, and we learned a lot from those sharing as well. So I thought this was a very fruitful trip.
Hi everyone, I'm Queenie. I'm the founder CEO of SyZyGy. A bit different from all the other attendees just shared about the company. We are not a game studio, but more we are using talents or techniques or know-how in the game industry or creative industry to create experiential solutions for different sectors. And normally our technological focus is extended reality and hologram. And actually at this event, we also showcase our 3D hologram display, which is a holographic hardware to show you some virtual avatar content. I really like this trip because it allows me to travel during the pandemic and also meet different types of talent that is quite different from those that we can find in Hong Kong. And I believe, although we are not running a game studio, but it's really important for all industries related to creativity to really get access to talents that are truly creative. And this is how we can make good use of these know-how and also talents to provide experiences that is truly good. So basically, as long as those business sectors require good user experience for the success of their business, we need these talents. So I think this trip is really a good chance for me to tap into a larger talent pool during the COVID-19.
Great. Rainy, it's you.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hi, I'm Rainy, CTO from Cool. So it's a pity that I can't be there in person, even though I'm physically and geographically very close to Hong Kong. So CoolUp is a platform and a game store specializing in anime games. And we want to create this one-stop service, this high-quality product, which includes game media, user community, and of course, the App Store to gather gamers and anime fans, ACG fans all over the world. So even though I can be there in person, but I'm still super happy to join this panel, and I'm sure the event is going to be very successful and insightful for everyone. And if it wasn't for this program, this trip, I don't think we would go to Nordics in at least a few years. So thank you, and I miss my friends over there, and I miss Binh.
So the last company, Area 28 Technologies, they are a game technology company that is developing a cloud collaborative SaaS platform for game developers, similar to Google Docs. So in today's multi-platform and distributed work environment, Area 28 enables developers to design and develop games and digital media more effectively in true real time from anywhere in the world. So we are back to what we say again. We are in an online digital world, and gaming, it's not really based on location. I mean, when you start a game, it's directly international. That's what you're going for. It's not like the industry 2.0 when you're thinking like, okay, scale up first and that. When you're a game company, isn't you truly global, just like that? Elizabeth.
Oh, hello. Hello. That's definitely the case for arcade games because in a way, the culture for arcade games, for arcade or family entertainment center in Hong Kong is not that strong. So somehow our products has been sold to everywhere in the world, but Hong Kong.
But Hong Kong.
But Hong Kong, yeah, for some reason, yes, because of the government policies in managing these arcade games, how they run, and it's probably difficult for arcade owners to run arcade, proper arcade games in Hong Kong. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, definitely. Like especially for us. So we are making fashion games, so it's all around the world who don't love fashion. So and actually like our target is the Western market. So from the day one, we're already like targeting on the global market. And I think one of the most insightful like in this trip is I think in the Nordic, especially in Finland and Sweden, they very similar to Hong Kong. So they are a small team, but have a team very strong and develop a game in global. So they don't do the local market. So that's a very good experience for us. And then we found out that their game design education and the team in game design is very strong. So this is slightly different with Hong Kong because we do not have that kind of, we are taught each other, like we had to hire good or like experienced game designer in Hong Kong. So this is one of the like what we're planning. Maybe we can hire a lot of like game designer and help develop game in Hong Kong, but publish to Western like American market. This is quite a global strategy.
So basically, it's not only the game that you want to sell globally, it's also your talents also global. You don't need to be in Hong Kong to get hired by these companies. That's what we find out during the tour too. What about you, Jeremy?
Yep. Basically what Wilfred just said, yes, it's the talent. So the talent in Hong Kong is pretty different from the talent in the Nordics. And I think it's just how the industries are in certain places. Like in the best talent here goes into finance, and the best talent there goes into a lot of other things, right? So our most of our talent is locked up in a lot of more traditional industries. Hence, industries like the gaming doesn't get as much attention from both the government and the talent. So we're trying to helpfully change that.
Queenie?
Yeah, I think our case is different, but I certainly agree with talent is a big thing. Because our business model is rather B2B or B2B2C, so it's regional. It needs to like cater to the way of doing business in certain region, like let's say Hong Kong or mainland China. So for us, it's more about understanding the regions that our company needs in three concepts. The first place is where you have the talents, where are the talents from. And for this part, I think it can be global. You just like take the best type of talents from that region. Let's say in Nordic countries, it's about creative talents. In Hong Kong, it's more about sales and marketing. It's about market-facing role talents. But you need both to be successful, and actually not just these two types. And another location is about incorporation. We are incorporated in Hong Kong and also in Shenzhen. And the third is where you have your market. So it means the place you have your talents, the place you incorporate your company, and the place, the region you serve as a market can be different. And in this case, Nordic countries' value to us is where we find talents that cannot be easily found in Hong Kong. And the reason is pretty much explained by Jeremy already.
Rainy.
Hi. Yes, so for Cool, because from day one, our vision is we want to provide a service to gather this kind of users who share the same interests from all over the world. So it's a global platform, global service from day one. And for this trip to Nordics, because everyone already mentioned about talent, right? So for me, I discovered that they have some services that I don't see very common in Asia. Like, for example, they have a lot of AI technology to solve problems. One I found it's gonna be very useful for us is there's an AI for community management. So basically, they can detect and remove unwanted or user community. There are a lot of contents, chats, tags we need to deal with on a daily basis. So I think that's something I found very useful during this trip. Yes.
So as we mentioned, this is a sharing session. So all of the delegates have been to the Nordics, and when they're in the Nordics, they also discovered that the Nordic people, everything from Supercell, Rovio to smaller studios, we all talk about sharing. And and some of the questions who popped up is like, if you share everything, aren't you afraid they're gonna just steal it? And the Nordic people are just like, well, that's the point. If you can steal the things that I create, then good on you. But then we can also see what you are doing with it, so we can learn from you and then get it back to our country. So sharing is actually a word. So here today, you are supposed to share a little bit about how the Nordics are. Is it a strange kind of people? Or sharing success story? Because except for visiting companies, we also went to Nordic Games. It's a very, very small place that we gathered a lot of, it's one of the biggest international B2B. I won't say the biggest because Sweden is so small, but a little bit sharing about that. The Nordic Games, your success story, did you get any leads? Are you in business or in talks with anything? Elizabeth.
Okay, first of all, I was actually very impressed when I went to Game Habitat. They have a very nice ecosystem within that area, and like you've said before, all these game developers and everyone involved in games, they share a lot. They help each other to do the testing and so on. So
before I let Eliza go, just like Game Habitat is in South Sweden. It's in the third biggest Swedish city called Malmö. And when I say third biggest, it's nothing, because the capital is Stockholm, and Stockholm is less than 1 million people. So Malmö is a little city with like 500,000, but in the south part, and they're linked to Copenhagen, Denmark. So they call it the Greater Copenhagen. So Game Habitat came from nothing. 10 years ago, they were like some guys trying to share their games together and create something. But because one of the questions from the audience here is like, what do you do? How do you create a community? That is exactly what Game Habitat is about. So when I took them to the Nordic Games, our first stop was with Game Habitat, where they explain how they build up the ecosystem from nothing to today's very big community that you got people from all over the world that wants to come to Malmö. They take care of one person. You don't need to have a company. You can go there and stay there for 30 days without the visa and just feel the place And you have a free room. You don't. You pay for your own rent, of course, and food. But working place, internet, coffee, everything is included. You just go there and you can feel people. And that is what Eliza was trying to say. When she came there, it's like everything is there. You have big companies like the one who did Hitman. What is the name, Jeremy?
IO Interactive?
IO Interactive, yes. They were there. So big companies, and then you have one guy who come from Switzerland, had nothing, stayed there for 30 days, and then he extended his, with our help, extended his visa for 90 days and so on. So that is the sharing part we love to share with them. So continue, sorry.
No worries. And also we are actually very thrilled that when we attend the game show and the business, the B2B meetings, we are a company, being in arcade games. In Hong Kong, somehow a lot of the Hong Kong people, they think that arcade games is kind of old school or sunset industry. But when we spoke to the other gamers or game investors or game makers there, they are very receptive and they really like our ideas. And we are actually working on something, and they, some of the biggest mobile game might be plugged into our arcade games soon. So stay tuned.
Wow! So it was a good trip. Yay! Wilfred.
Talking about like a sharing culture, I think one of the most, I asked them why Nordic people would like to share and helping each other. They say, because maybe they are Viking that in the very old day they need to help to survive. So this is but to be honest, I think it is not just we have chance to connect with the Nordic people. Also, it's a good a trip that connect with Hong Kong people. So we got close connection and can help each other. So and a part of the one of the trip, what we're looking for is we want to look for a publisher that can help us to expand to the Nordic and the European. So we got few connection and who interested in our game, and we continue on talking about some partnership or we're still ongoing. But I think sharing, like you say, even though we not sign any agreement, but they already give us a lot of useful feedback for our prototype game. So that's why I think this is a fruitful trip for us.
Jeremy?
It was a very fruitful trip for us. First of all, the companionship was amazing. The stuff we saw over there, the stuff we learned, the companies we visited were very, very eye-opening. And we also had a lead that we met in Sweden in Nordic Games that we after we came back to Hong Kong, after a couple rounds of bidding and negotiations and all that, we secured a publishing deal. Well, we're the publisher, so we want to publish a game, and the team is actually in Germany, and we were able to secure that. So that was a very fruitful trip for us.
That's very cool. So I certainly agree that this trip actually makes me become closer with other Hong Kong companies. Whereas during COVID-19, you don't really get a chance to socialize with people in the industry a lot. So this is a rare opportunity, and it's actually even better when we are in an exotic place. So it helps. It's really good. And at the same time, I think my learning from, I would say my experience in the Nordic regions are like two layers. First layer is about my personal learning, and second layer is about potential business partnership. So personally, I feel it's really an eye-opening experience for me to see how good Nordic people are at building a community. Because for a lot of creative industry, you need a community to gather the people and share the knowledge, share the know-how, and then build something great from it. And Game Habitat is certainly something that I cannot believe it exists before I actually visit there and see how they operate. And it inspired me to try to figure out if anything similar can be done in Hong Kong. And this is something that I am looking for beyond what SyZyGy does, because I also have other engagements. But I believe these are some industry best practices that we should benchmark. So personally, I think it taught me a lot this trip. And in terms of business partnership, well, we do talk to some companies and studio, but what left me a greatest impression is Game Habitat actually has a guest office, and every 3 months, I think like every quarter they rotate. So basically, global entrepreneurs, especially from the game industry, they come to Game Habitat guest office and spend a few months there. And at that time, during our stay in Sweden, we met a Swiss entrepreneur named Florian. He actually just exited his company last August, and he is extremely experienced and talented. And after this trip, we keep contact, we share, and he even introduced his own brother to me, who's also a talent in the game industry, but not really a game programmer, but more like a game designer mixed with who is also capable with game graphics and even sound. So very versatile, a type of talent that we cannot really easily find in Hong Kong, because even finding a game designer is hard enough, not mentioning a versatile game designer. So I think it's really good, this trip, this kind of partnership. I wouldn't say it's just about company to company, studio to studio type of partnership. It also allows me to have, say, more personal touch on it. And after a few months now, looking back at it, I think the best things from this trip is actually the personal level kind of engagement. Before this trip, I was thinking maybe it's about business matching between companies, but I realized the best kind of synergy that I can get from this trip is actually exactly the talents, and then you talk to them. And in this case, it's not something as straightforward as I want to get a publishing deal, because we are not a game studio, but it's more about what if you have some new project, new ideas that you would like to test out. Is there any talents that are willing to discuss with you on the possibility of doing this together? And in this case, you see, it's not just about company to company kind of partnership, something that is very direct, you need to sign an agreement. Is beyond that. They're willing to actually discuss with you on whether the upcoming project that you are having right now, they can chip in and do something for you. So I think this is certainly something that I didn't really expect before I go to this trip, and I think it's a very precious experience for me.
Ready?
Hi. So yes, as Binh said, game developers there are super nice and friendly, and they love to share their ideas with you, just genuinely, not ideas, but also experience and know-how. So that's quite different from Asia. So I'm very impressed by that. First of all, of course, in terms of business, I want to explore business opportunities there, because we focus on ACG, and ACG anime is very popular in Asia, and it's becoming the mainstream in the West as well. So you can already see the trend, because all the mainstream platform like Crunchyroll, Netflix are providing more and more anime contents. So I will assume that in Nordics. Then I was just a little bit disappointed, because the ACG is still the cultural is still growing over there. But then we went to the Nordic Game Show, and I saw a lot of indie game developers and the energy there. So for me, it's more like a field research over there. And then I think maybe I can build some media partnership as well with all the organization or game exhibition holder being over there. So just overall, I think it's still a pretty productive trip for me and for Coop as well.
It is funny. So this is the Nordic way of thinking. So she was disappointed because there is not much of her things that she can find there. And I'm like, woman, think. There is nothing of your business there. What is this next step? Take Coop to the Nordics and sell it. That's the whole point. You find a new business, and that is the Nordic mentality. That's what I mean with sharing. All of a sudden, you see something that is not there. And people were very interested in Rainy's Coop because they haven't seen it. They know what it is, but there's not much of that in our community. That's a new thing. So think about that, Rainy. It's a new thing.
Thank you.
So, and for me, sharing is also interesting. When I took on a Cyberport project, I just assume, I don't know why, it's just me, I just assume that they know each other. So I'm like, okay, we have to share a room. This is the rules, 222, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Rainy is sharing a room with Elizabeth because it's 2 girls. And I all come back and like, no, I'm not sharing with her. I don't know her. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know her? You're all from Cyberport. But we don't know each other. I'm like, what do you mean you do not know each other? You're in the same freaking building. Okay, so my mistake. Find out the hard way. Seriously, you guys don't know each other. And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden, I'm not only a program manager, I'm a babysitter. Make sure. No, joke aside. That was for me the best thing in the whole trip. I get to know them. And because when I'm busy planning everything, I'm a busy bee. I don't have time to talk to them. So when they are there, I'm relaxed because the planning is done. I don't need to do more. It's their time to work. They have to do the networking, the thing. And then I just observed them and we talked. And the more we talk, I'm like, I don't know what I missed, but this is networking for me. So networking is not only one-to-one or that. It's like everyone knows each other. We share ideas. And I think you guys agree with me that we shared a lot during meeting, like ideas, business, and a lot of questions. So here is one question from the audience. It's a very big question. So I suggest you just contact us after this. He said, what kind of ancillary support will be provided to attract Hong Kong companies to develop in Nordics? I mean, we just talked about game habitat. You can go there Saturday for free. No visa required. Just go there, meet other people, talk to them, interview them, get to understand the game. Business Finland in Finland have the same thing. They have tax reduction, and then you have Helsinki partners who basically will fast track you if you need a visa, entrepreneurship visa. After this trip, they're like, okay, is that what they need? Yes. Hong Kong people want to come. Can they come? And they're like, yes, we can fast track the visa if you want to come to and establish or hire someone or do something here. We can help out. So this is a very big question, but that is tax reduction, there is free visa, and there is other things. So reach out to us. They're all expert now. They get all the tax numbers, the deductions, and whatever they need to know. So there is some ideas that maybe they will go there and open up later on when the COVID restriction is a little bit less. Not on our side. We don't have rules. Herd immunity. We all got COVID. A joke from me from them to them. If you go to Nordics, just expect to get COVID. And sorry, they all got COVID when they come back. But they all
Queenie
fine now.
didn't. Queenie
I'm
was
the
fine.
sole survivor.
Oh my
Sole
God.
survivor.
So for the one who asked these questions, please contact us again because there is a lot of things we can do together. And what are the interests of Nordic game companies expanding to Hong Kong or Asian markets? Right now the interest is there, but because we know what happened with China and games right now. China is the market everyone wants into, and it's not going to happen right now. So everyone is actually waiting to see what. So Hong Kong is a very interesting place to come to first, to learn, and then next Hong Kong is still a gateway to China. So that is what the truth is, the hard truth. We want China market, and you can do it from Hong Kong. And the last question is not for me to answer. Can Hong Kong become a hub of game development? Terence, where is he? I mean, we have Create Hong Kong now, who want to attract talents. They give funding to different organizations to attract you guys. And Cyberport get part of the money, so they are doing as much as they can to attract companies. So sorry, not our questions to answer. So not much time left. Guys, do you want to share something more before we have to close the session? Anything that you, annoying thing like me, being very annoyed, annoying person?
No.
Be careful, tell me what you say.
No, not annoying at all.
You're actually very, very helpful. We appreciate it.
But this is the attitude. We have so much fun together. And one thing I think you forgot to mention, I told them, when a Swedish, a Nordic, a Finnish, someone call you, let's have a beer, go and have a beer. Because the real business is about a beer. It's about a drink. And then the real business come. Same thing as in China, we go 食飯. 係咯，大家真係食餐飯飲杯茶，打個包，傾下偈。Same thing there. So the formal meeting don't give you that much. So all the networking that they will say like, oh my God, we have to go out from a gala dinner from 7 to 10 p.m. and then you have like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Binh. We have a work to do. I'm like, yeah, but believe me, that kind of informal setting gives you more than the actual meeting that I bring them to. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, let me know. So I don't have more questions from the audience. So anyone who is listening in, if you have more questions, please reach out. They all know a lot about the Nordic countries. They jumped 3 countries. So, and we have been there physically, and the whole trip for me is about, there's nothing you can do online, but meeting people, the handshake, the talk, the vibe, you can't. That's why my job is important. My job is to bring Nordic companies to Hong Kong, to Shenzhen, to GBA. And that is not happening right now, but that is the next step. So I will keep doing both things. So stay tuned for the next cohort, for those who are interested maybe to come. Maybe not exact same program, but similar. So again, thank you Create Hong Kong for funding us. Thank you Cyberport. You don't understand how much these guys love and hate me, because calling them, texting them, we have time zones too, you know that, huh? So these guys can get a text from me at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I get an answer when I wake up. Yay! So thank you Cyberport.